Pecan bars. Do you say pecan or pecan? I don't care. Oh my god. These are truly delicious. Way better than pecan pie, and also way easier to make. I feel like there was a lot more things I was gonna say about this, but let's just jump into it and make these.
So the first thing we need to make is the crust, and this crust is just significantly easier than making pie crust. We're just gonna make, it's almost like a cookie dough. We're gonna take a couple sticks of butter and turn it into brown butter. If you've never browned butter before, I did make a whole video on it once, but essentially you're just melting the butter and all of the milk solids in the butter are gonna separate out and turn brown, and all of the water that was in the butter is going to boil out. So that's what all those bubbles are, and all of those brown bits are the brown milk solids, and we're just gonna pour that into a bowl and let it rest for maybe like 5 minutes. Moving on to the rest of the ingredients, we're gonna need some sugar. You know that depressing feeling when you open up a new bag of sugar, because that means that you killed a whole 5-pound bag of sugar before that. That feels great. Then we're gonna need some extract. You could use vanilla extract, but I had this coffee extract and I thought it would taste good. But like I said, vanilla extract works great. Then we're gonna add a little cinnamon and freshly grated nutmeg for a little extra flavor. Apparently my cameras weren't rolling when I added a giant pinch of salt, and then there's all that flour. Now we're just gonna mix all that together. You don't have to be scientific about it, just mix it till it's all combined and kind of looks like cookie dough. And that's it as far as mixing the dough. Now we just need our baking vessel. This is a 9x13 deep cake pan. I really like this lid thing that I found. I'll see if I can find a link for this online. We're gonna line it with parchment paper, plop in the dough, roll up your sleeve, and start spreading out the dough as evenly as possible, but don't stress about it. Like, it's gonna be okay no matter how perfectly even it is or not. And then we're gonna throw it in a 350-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes. And that's pretty much it for the crust, and I promise you won't find a pie crust that's that simple or foolproof to make. But let's move on to the filling, which I actually made while the crust was in the oven. But before we really get cracking away at the filling, we kind of need to prep out two things. The first thing is our pecans. We're gonna take 300 grams of pecans and chop them up as fine or not fine as you want. And you could even probably leave these completely whole. I don't know if I'd really recommend that. You could also use a food processor, but I kind of like the variety of sizes you get by using a knife. Once those are all chopped up to your liking, we're just gonna throw them back into the container and move on to our eggs. And this part's super easy. We're just gonna crack 2 eggs in a bowl and whisk them up. I will come back to why we're doing this in just a minute. I feel like I made prep work sound like it was gonna be a lot of work, but that was really it. We're just gonna grab the same pan we browned the butter in. I didn't clean it, don't worry about it. We're throwing in another stick of butter, some maple syrup, some brown sugar. Yes, that's a fresh bag, kill me now. I guess I should probably mention that the measurements for everything are in the description down below. We're gonna pour in some heavy whipping cream. I paused on this frame for a minute because I guess I thought it looked cool. Once everything's measured out, we're just gonna throw that onto some heat and let it start melting off. I guess once I did that, I realized I left out cinnamon and a big pinch of salt. Now that we actually have everything in the pan, we're just gonna stir everything together, and we're looking for that butter to melt first. It will melt quicker if we were to have cubed it up first, but once it's all melted, you're looking for a rolling boil. Once at the boil, we're gonna cook for about 30 seconds, and then we're going to temper our eggs. So if you don't know what tempering eggs means, it means that we're going to slowly introduce this super hot mixture to the eggs so that they come up to temperature without scrambling. Just the same way eggs would instantly scramble, like when you pour it into a hot pan, the same would happen if you'd pour it into a hot pan full of hot liquid. But by whisking constantly and adding 1 ladle at a time, I'm just doing 2 ladles, it's going to fully incorporate the eggs into the mixture without them ever scrambling. If you've got a buddy in the house, then that would probably make this a little bit easier. This is probably the hardest part of the whole process, not because it's actually hard, but just because it's kind of a weird coordination move. But once they're nice and tempered, you can just pour them straight back into the hot mixture and all will be good. See, look at that. No scrambled eggs in sight. Everything looks nice and consistent. And now we're just gonna grab our pecans and throw them straight into the liquid mixture thing. You don't have to do anything really here. You're just gonna make sure that those pecans are fully coated in our filling mix, and now our filling's done. All that's left to do is take that pie crust or bar crust, whatever you want to call it, and just pour the filling mixture straight on top of it and spread it out as evenly as possible. You don't have to get this perfect either, but you know, it's a little fun to spread it around and try to make it as perfect as possible. Once you've inevitably spent too much time trying to make it perfect and it looks okay, we're gonna pop it in a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. If you're worried about it, you can always use a toothpick or a cake tester to make sure that that comes out clean, and then we're gonna let it rest on the counter for as long as your patience will allow, when we're going to grab a cutting board. And with the cutting board, we're just gonna flip it over onto the cutting board so that we can flip it back over onto the work surface. I'm putting on my serious voice now. This is my serious voice because that's it. That's just how easy it is. We're gonna slice these into bars, however big or small you want. I decided to go for 24 bars so I could eat like 5 of them and feel a little bit less bad.
Well, would you look at that? My goodness. For the amount of effort these take, it's just like laughable how good they are. I recommend cooling them all the way down before you eat them, which I am impatient to do because it's 1:30 in the morning. Anyway, cheers. These are just stupid good. I don't understand how these are just... I just wish you could experience this. And you can. You just have to make them. So what I'm saying is I hope you make these. Either way, thanks for watching. Share, comment, like. I don't care. Just actually, I don't do any of that. Just go make these right now. Okay, bye.